Like this. One thing I'm going to give you guys is, one thing that we'll do is I'll give you guys a notation of, that looks like this.
Goof?
So, it means g of f of x. Now, that notation is not very common, but you might see it, so if you do see it, that's why I'm writing on the board, you understand what it is. The easy way to understand it is kind of like what we just did. Okay? So if you write it like that, it might make a little bit more intuitive sense because what? We just did 6, 7, 9 problems of this, evaluating functions. So hopefully you guys understand in this case what you're doing is you're taking the function f of x and you're plugging in the function g of x. Correct? So it's going to look something like this. You take the g of x function, in reality what you're doing is you're taking g of x and you're plugging in f of x. So it should look something like this. Right? You're replacing x with f of x. Does that make sense? Okay. But now, this is okay for what we just did, but now we know what f of x is, right? So now we can actually go a step further, and we can say
1 over square root of x minus 1. Then we can set it equal to.
nope, then we're done. That's it. We're good here, but now, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to do is when we're doing compositions of functions, now the next thing we'd ask you guys to do is define the domain. You guys should be familiar with the domain here and say, oh, okay, we can't be, it can't, whatever is in here has to be greater, x minus 1 has to be greater than 0. It can't be equal to, because that makes the denominator 0. So we see that x has to be greater than positive 1. So how do we write the domain for all numbers that are greater than 1?
Okay, so now 1 approaching infinity. Wow.
Okay? So that is one thing that you will be asked. The next